Good evening. Welcome to the sunset weeks of the Masterclass. I love using the word sunset as much as I love using the word dawn. The only two realities in life, one is a new dawn and second is a sunset. Life is, if you look at it, it's a dawn and a sunset. It's a ebb and a tide. And if you look at how productive failure works, it works just like that. You take steps with hope. You want to unravel mysteries. That's your dawn. And then when you sit down and you realize that particular step did not work, that's your sunset. So dawn and sunset cycle goes on, and that's how you learn in productive failure. Bless you all for joining us. Meenakshi, please mute your mic. Thank you. So we have a challenge. Kindly manage your audio settings because this is the challenge we face when we go into a Zoom meeting. But Zoom meeting was required simply because of helping you complete the masterclass. We are on chapter 8, Designing for Self, Reading Productive Failure. Self doubt is quite normal. More than most people will readily admit, most of us struggle with imposter syndrome at some points in our lives. In April 2012, I was a visiting professor at Tokyo University, and my dad, who lived in India at the time, came to visit. During dinner one evening, I shared with him that I was feeling out of my depth at work, struggling at times, that maybe I wasn't good enough. He listened intently, as he always did, and said, Manu, one's ambitions should always exceed their talent. He meant by this that what I feel was a good thing as I was pushing myself to grow and learn. So, this is where we are. In this little story, you actually have with you the entire productive failures methodology. So, you have ambition on one side and you have talent on the other side. You chase your ambition, you want to solve by experiment, you want to learn, and that's how your learning goes forward. So that's a beautiful story which Manu's father has explained him in his way. I'm sure all of us will find this story of echo to each of us. A Russian psychologist, Lev Yogsky, embodied this wisdom in the theory of cognitive development. He called it the zone of proximal development. I will simply call it the zone. Vygotsky's idea was to that development and growth happen in the zone where you are trying to learn something that is beyond your current abilities. In the wisdom of the generations, what you want to learn, your ambition, must exceed your current abilities, your talent. Welcome to Learning Forward. How do we use the zone for our own growth and learning? First, you must enter it. And failure happens to be the core of this dynamic. Entering the zone. The zone of proximal development, simply ZPD, refers to a metaphorical zone of the difference between what someone can do without help and what they cannot do without help, but can achieve with guidance and encouragement from a skilled partner. We will come to figure 8.1. It emphasizes the potential for growth and development by focusing on tasks and we cannot do alone but can accomplish with some assistance. According to Vygotsky, this zone represents the area where the most significant learning takes place, as it pushes us just beyond our current abilities, requiring us to stretch our capabilities. I hope you remember ABLE and the boost phase. Connect that with this. You are in the zone. How does one enter the zone? By definition, you enter the zone when you are taking on something that you cannot do as yet. If you try something and you can do it successfully, then You are not in the zone. If you take on something harder and you are somehow able to do that too, you are still not in the zone. So you keep notching it up, harder and harder things. Only when you reach the level where you are no longer able to do the task successfully, that is, you fail. Then you know you have entered the zone. I have been messaging you about attempting the assignments, and that's what we've been doing. Our assignment journey for Masterclass at the Sunbeam has been true productive failure experience. You take a shortcut, you lose your learning. You chase learning, that's tough, and you face failure. That's productive failure. And some of you have really blossomed in attempting. Thank you for that. We often think success is more useful than failure. Success makes us feel good, assures us, motivates us to go further. All good things. But when it comes to learning new things, failure is more important. For it is failure that gives you the necessary information about whether or not you are in the zone. And if you're not in the zone, you're not learning and growing as much. And this is precisely why in productive failure, we deliberately design our failure so that only by engaging in challenging tasks in which we are initially expected to fail, can we enter the zone. And in the zone is where we give ourselves the best opportunity for deep learning. As we have seen in the earlier parts of this book, engaging with tasks that we cannot solve independently forces us to confront our limitations and gaps, motivating the need for instructional support or collaboration with more knowledgeable others to bridge the gap in our understanding. The initial failure is not only acceptable but desirable for learning. It sets up the need for scaffolding. I really love using this word, and I'm sure you've heard it from me so often. Professional learning is nothing but scaffolding, providing the right kind of support at the right time. After we have had the chance to explore and struggle with the problems, this approach ensures that the subsequent instruction, help, or support is more targeted and effective, as then it has a better chance of addressing the specific areas of difficulty identified through our attempts and failures, thus facilitating deeper learning and growth. Let me capture this figure for you, zone of proximal development, because this is the key to what we are doing today. So I'm going back to the Teachers Academy where I'm putting this there in your WhatsApp. Just the important part. Look at this figure. You have it right with you. You have the zone of proximal development, which is fairly huge, and you are in a smaller circle there. At this stage, as you look into your WhatsApp in your phone, where I have put this graphic, I have also added the links above that. So the interesting thing about the way Zoom shares links now is very simple. It tells you in this link that we are here for 6 meetings more. Second, you can download this into your calendar and add for the next 6 meetings. Third, to join the Zoom meeting, there is a link. And fourth, you can head to our Zoom AI companion notes, which we've opened for you. And yes, if you are stuck, there's joining instructions. So with this kind of sheet, it's also become like direct instruction. So there's no question of productive failure in these links and this messaging which we have done. Thank you for your patience, and I'm glad you learned something new today, that we have become a Zoom meeting. Enjoy yourself as we read along. In the figure, the zone of proximal development. Without the initial failure, none of this would be possible. Without the subsequent instruction or scaffold, even the initial failure would be unproductive. Consistent with the two-phase design of productive failure, one needs both the initial failure and gets you into the zone, and then the appropriate support that helps you learn. Clearly, we need to learn to fail. If we do not learn to fail, we will fail to learn. Fail not for failure's sake, but fail because we actively seek tasks and challenges that are just beyond our current skill sets and abilities. It's a very powerful message, this four liner. Think about it. This could be your thought provoking message for this week. So, if you look at the zone of proximal development and you look at what I've just shared with you, these four lines, you've got the entire story of the book in these two graphics. You need to break out. You need to take that step, and only you can take it. I have been asking everyone lately, it's time now for you to think of the next step and invest in your professional learning. So we are already designing on the art of thinking clearly. That's the next level of the masterclass, which will start in November and go on till next year. This current masterclass on productive failure will give you enough time in November and December to do your assignments. But the beautiful part is, for the next masterclass, we won't do assignments like this. We will simply have you share your thoughts. We'll capture your thoughts and do a weekly column for the masterclass. That's how we'll do it. So go ahead and join us for the next season of the masterclass. What drives us to take on such tasks and challenges? Perhaps it is ambition, as was the case with me. Perhaps motivation, be it internal or external. Perhaps curiosity, perhaps some other need, or some combination of all of them. Regardless of what the driver is, a common denominator across them is the need to be better than where we are. A discontentment with our current state. Note, a discontentment with our current state. But this is not the bad kind of discontentment that holds us back. It is of the good kind that pushes us forward. I call it productive discontentment. Practicing productive discontentment is the first step in learning to fail. If we remain content with where we are, we will likely not grow and learn much. Productive discontentment makes us seek to work on things that are beyond our current ability and skill set. And when we do that, we will struggle and we might fail, but we will also give ourselves the opportunity to grow and learn. Finding what drives you, be it one thing or many, to practice productive discontentment is the first step toward growth and learning. It sets you up to harness failure and learn from it. The design principles of productive failure that I described in the previous chapter can now be used for your own learning to drive your own growth and development. Harnessing the productive failure design principles. When designing learning experiences for oneself, use the three layers: task, participation, and social surround. Task, participation, and social surround. There's a blog post from happyteachers.in. Thank you, Gurdeep, for that post and the information you shared. We don't have a recording of the last session. Don't worry about it. That one blog post has got everything and is beautifully captured. It is crucial to approach the process holistically, considering how each layer interacts with the others to enhance the learning experience. As shown in the next figure, 8.2, design your own challenging task should push the boundary of current understanding, prompting exploration and inquiry. That's how your assignment is described. Designing your participation involves actively seeking feedback and collaboration opportunities at the right time. Even if you're a primary learner, finally, designing your safe space involves creating an environment with the right norms and expectations and building a growth mindset. It's all about a growth mindset. You're deciding to come here regularly. That's your growth mindset. Keep that up. So here we are, the layers of productive failure by design. Individually, each layer has a positive effect on learning and growth. Let's look at this again. So you have a social surround first. You set learning goals. You value effort over outcome. You reflect. You seek feedback. You seek effective support. You get inspired. You practice companion. You acknowledge luck. On this point, if you people follow the WhatsApp community, you will note we are almost 2.6 million on the Happy Teachers blog. And this has happened because teachers are trying to express themselves. Teachers are trying to help each other. They reflect. They seek feedback. They seek active support. They get inspired. They practice compassion. We care for each other. Manisha cares for you all, so she volunteers to help you. Gurdeep loves you all, so she has compassion for you. Acknowledge your luck if you get called out and if your article is published in the newsletter. That's the social surround. Participation. We learn together, but prepare before collaboration. We build habits, explaining our ideas, hacking your own ideas. Now, that is the next step. You explain your idea and hack it. And finally, the task. Within the zone of proximal development, you contextualize. You look at multiple solutions. You effective draw. You contrasting in varying cases. Minimize computation load. You try and simplify things. That's really a summary of minimize computation load. Individually, each layer has a positive effect on learning and growth. However, the real magic lies in the synergetic effect of employing these three principles together, three principles of social surround, participation, and task. But, for example, when tackling a challenging task, you might initially struggle. But through active participation in a supportive community, after you have tried on your own, you can gain insights and approaches you had not considered. This process not only aids in overcoming the immediate challenge, but also reinforces a positive learning mindset. The integration of these principles leads to a richer, more enlarged learning experience where resilience, critical thinking, and adaptability are developed. Learning becomes not just about acquired knowledge, but evolving one's approach to challenge and failure, ultimately fostering a lifelong learning journey. Therefore, although I will describe and illustrate how you may use each layer and the principles within the layer one by one, the idea really is to learn to use them. That said, you do not have to take an all or nothing approach. Take baby steps if you like. Try one principle at a time, gradually incorporate the others as they become part of your habits. All of this will take time, of course, for it takes time to learn and become a deep learner, but it is well worth the journey. Let us start with designing your challenge. Designing your challenge. Keep it challenging but accessible. When you are learning something new, it is counterintuitive to make things challenging. Often, the impulse is to start with something simple. Now, that is fine as long as a simple task still gets you in the zone. If not, you need to enter the zone. It is essential for personal and professional development as it pushes us to tackle more complex problems and learn new skills. Here are a few examples. Learning a musical instrument. Starting to learn a complex piece that seems slightly beyond the current skill level can push you to refine your techniques and understand music more deeply. Physical fitness. Try a new, more demanding workout routine or sport can improve your physical condition and endurance, encouraging your body to adapt and grow stronger. Professional development. Taking a project at work that requires skills you are not fully comfortable with, such as leading a team, managing a more complex project, or learning a new technology, can significantly enhance your competence and abundance. This is why we set up Learning Forward India Foundation. And that's the mandate we have from Learning Forward in America, where we focus on professional development. And this forms the crux of all our professional development. I've just put this in your conversation. Taking on a project at work that requires skills you are not fully comfortable with yet, such as leading a team, managing a more complex project, or learning a new technology, can significantly enhance your competence and confidence. Read this paragraph carefully. Don't get carried away by the hoo ha noise about teachers will get replaced by technology. No one will get replaced by anyone. Let me tell you that first. I'm not a futurist, but marketing technology is quite a fancy way. They have to frighten you, they have to awe you, then you bite into it. That's the marketeer's delight. What happened when the year 2000 was turning into 2021? There was a marketing delight. There was a kill for the people. When internet came, there was a kill for the people. Similarly, when the dot com boom bust happened, there was a kill for the people. And similarly, I think now, that's what I think, that is AI is just an awe that has been created. And you will all get used to it. It's like you get used to using a dictionary to find a meaning, as simple as that. That's what modern dictionary is. AI is nothing but a wonderful scaffolding for you. It's a beautiful blossoming of collaboration. It's a beautiful methodology to make learning knowledgeable and democratic. And this is your hour. This is your golden hour. So do continue reading, do continue being with us. I promise you the next experience is going to be even a more richer one. In each case, because you are in the zone now, you will struggle and even fail. But remember that this is precisely the locus of powerful learning. Struggle and even failure are a feature, not the bug. Of course, the challenge should not be so hard that you completely give up, nor should it be harmful in any way. The principle of safe space applies. Finding the sweet spot is the key. One general strategy is to get in the zone that works across domains and skills is called retrieval practice. Recall the failed generation effect from chapter 3. That was the idea that attempting to answer questions about an unfamiliar topic before learning improves learning of that topic, even if the initial answers are incorrect. And the effect holds whether you are learning words, reading texts, or learning from videos. What this means is that anytime you are trying to learn something new or practicing a skill, always remember to test yourself first before jumping in it. I'll pause here. This morning, for some reason, I did not test how hot the water was. Perhaps the water heater, the geyser, had been on for a long time, and without thinking, I took a mug of water and poured it on me. I know there was pain after that, but the fault was I did not test myself before taking the water onto me. Now, that's a very interesting example I'm giving you today. And what I do in the day somehow always comes up in the literature which I read. So, be it revising for an exam, remembering a recipe, playing a new piece, or learning a new concept, test yourself first and only then access the necessary information. This is beautiful, absolutely. If you don't test yourself, you will not push yourself. And that's why, even on the track in athletics, you first warm up. You don't run the race. Practicing retrieving information, even if we recall nothing or incorrect information, sets the stage for learning from the correct information. And only then should we access correct information, thereby completing the two-phase design. Contextual. When learning something new, contextualizing learning by relating new information to real world situations or familiar concepts helps in understanding and retention. Recall from chapter 1 that context matters. It matters where you learn something and how you learn something. The place matters, the situation matters, the practices matter. We encode information of not just the content we are trying to learn, but also the context. Therefore, if we want to be able to learn something and apply it in the context of daily life, then we must contextualize our learning in the first place. Suppose you want to learn a new project management software. A decontextualized way of learning would involve consulting a manual or a series of generic training videos taking you through each functionality and feature. As intuitive as this way of learning may seem to be, it is not as effective as learning in the context of actual use. Imagine you are given a simulated project similar to their real tasks and asked to manage it using the new software. You might struggle initially trying to figure out how to apply the software's features to your project. But once you have done that, your problem solving phase, if a trainer then explains the software, the instruction phase, directly linking its features to the challenges you face during the project management simulation, you will better relate each function of the software to your real work needs, enhancing your understanding and retention of how to use the software effectively. The same logic applies to other areas too, such as learning a new language. You can learn language in a contextualized manner by studying vocabulary and grammar rules through drills and textbook exercises, or before delving deeply into grammar and vocabulary. You can throw yourself into everyday situations, simulated or real, such as ordering food, asking for direction, and so on. This is your problem solving phase. You will make mistakes and struggle to communicate effectively at first, but this is precisely what sets up the opportunity to learn from your mistakes. And then, if you consult formal sources for grammar and vocabulary or get just in time feedback in that situation, your instruction phase, you will learn language more meaningfully and retain it better. Context gets encoded, and this is why immersion works miracles. Design your own proximate immersions, simulated and real. It does not matter what it is you are learning. Always contextualize in a way the context of learning overlaps or is aligned with the context of use. Multiple solutions and representations. To learn something means you can think about it in different ways, explain it in different ways, represent it in different ways, all connected with each other. Therefore, embracing multiple solutions and representations encourages diverse problem solving approaches, enhancing understanding and creativity. Indeed, as noted in earlier chapters, research strongly supports that prior knowledge activation is key for learning, and problems that allow you to activate your knowledge more widely would therefore be better for your own learning. Suppose you are trying to solve a complex problem of work. Engage in brainstorming sessions with colleagues from different departments or backgrounds. That's how we make a whole faculty study groups when we do professional learning. Encourage each participant to represent their viewpoint or solution based on their expertise. For example, when addressing a customer service issue, include team members from sales, technical support, and product development in the discussion. I'll pause here. Of late, at the English Book Depot, we've started having a Monday morning 15-minute brainstorm, and Kunal was witness to it the other day, where we did exactly this. I didn't know this will come in the book today. We got the tech guys, the admin and account guys, we got the customer relation guys, and we also got the customer support team on how do we enhance the customer experience at the bookstore. This fosters a collaborative environment where multiple perspectives and solutions are considered, increasing the chance of more creative and effective outcomes. It also enhances our ability to work in diverse teams and appreciate different perspectives. I'll pause here As I was mentioning the English Book Depot example, the most productive thought came from an intern who's been with us just for a few weeks, absolutely fresh, still in college. We have an intern who works at our book cafe. She gave a brilliant perspective and changed our thinking of customer support. Equally, you may consider volunteering for initiating projects that require collaboration across different functions of the organization. Working on such project exposes you to various aspects of the business and different ways of thinking. This experience not only increases your understanding of the business, but also helps you develop a holistic approach to problem solving, improving your ability to contribute to complex projects effectively. I'll pause here and explain. I do discuss with Manisha once in a while as to why she's here. She's been here perhaps longer than many of you. And what she tells me is exactly this, that she's learning new things every time she comes here. And that's why we are born. So, this whole approach of solving problems, the ability to contribute, and always trying to get out of your ZPD, that's the most important part. Only when you get out of your zone of proximal development, anything will happen. Just going to school, being a teacher, reading those 10 pages, giving those 10 questions, giving those 10 answers, and giving those 10 marks, you will learn nothing. Tackling a mathematical problem using both algebraic and geometric methods can illuminate different aspects of the problem, offering insights into its structure and potential solutions. Or if you're working on data analysis, try using various techniques to model the same data. For each may have different aspects or patterns in the data more salient. Or use different softwares like XLR, Python, SPSS to find which offers the most insightful representations of data for your needs. By becoming proficient in multiple techniques and tools, you can choose the most effective one of each task, improving your work and quality efficiency. This is important to note. How you focus on that. Thank you, Rajni, for that comment on the WhatsApp chat. I just saw it. The same goes for cooking. Preparing a dish with various techniques or ingredients, like baking versus frying, offers insightful into culinary science and nutrition and financial planning. Comparing budgeting needs. Please mute. Thank you. I need your help, Manisha. In case someone gets unmuted inadvertently, please mute them. The same goes for cooking. Preparing a dish with various techniques or ingredients, like baking versus frying, offers insights into culinary science and nutrition and financial planning. Comparing budgeting methods such as the envelope system versus digital apps. Look at the word I've used, envelope. Think about it. There are ways we pronounce it. You may say it envelope, but if you actually get the correct sound, it should be envelope. Envelope system versus digital apps reveals the advantages of different financial strategies. Our continuous learning, pursue learning opportunities in various formats such as online courses, workshops, webinars, and books, covering a range of topics relevant to your field. By understanding concepts from multiple perspectives, you will not only broaden your knowledge base, but also become more adaptive and innovative. Design by multiplicity can be done after learning as well, especially through effective practice. Regularly reflect on your learning experiences, challenges faced, and how you approach them. Consider what alternative strategies could have been employed. Keeping a journal or a blog to document these reflections can be beneficial. Make it a habit to ask, is this the only way? Could there be another way? Could I be wrong? How would someone else approach this? And so on. Such a habit encourages continuous improvement and helps you become more aware of the multiple approaches you can take to solve problems, increasing your efficiency and effectiveness over time. Reflection, reflection, and reflection. Effective draw. The principle of effective draw emphasizes engaging with topics that ignite curiosity and passion. When learning something new, choose contexts or topics that intrigue you, keeping motivation high. Find levers, anchors, inroads, and you find interesting. This emotional connection enhances motivation and deepens learning. Choose to learn about something you are passionate about, such as photography, gardening, or coding for personal projects. To get physically fit, pick a sport or a physical activity you like instead of the ones that you do not. Select books or articles in genres or topics you love, thereby increasing engaging comprehension. Focus on professional skills or knowledge areas you are genuinely interested in, leading to more fulfilling career growth. So let's capture this also. These snippets which you have, do read them. They are bite sized learning, like I call them. You'll find them useful. Even so, many of us struggle to get motivated to actually do the things, even the ones that we like or are curious about. All of us can use a boost from time to time, from getting us started to keeping us going to completing it. To help us, let us try to derive some hacks from the evidence based ABLEs we encountered in chapter 5. 1. The first lap hack. The idea here is to get started. Sometimes the first step is itself the hardest. For example, my main exercise comes from swimming. I love swimming, but sometimes I struggle with my motivation. The idea of swimming for half an hour seems daunting at times. So I tell myself I will do just one lap and that is it. Just one. That is my goal. And if I can do that, then I will have achieved my goal. That invariably gets me into the pool and gets me started. After one lap is doable, the magic, however, happens, and I've completed the first lap. Because once I get the first lap under my belt, I'm already in the pool. And so I go for the second, then the third, ultimately completing my full set of 20 laps. Hence the name, the first lap hack. Take the first step, it gets you in, and an in gets you a buy in, much like the endowed progress effect of able to discussed in chapter 5. You are endowing your own progress and hacking your own way to getting started. The looking back hack. Even after getting started, the motivation to keep going needs a boost. Yeah. Okay. Even after getting started, the motivation needs to keep going needs a boost at times. It is quite easy to look at the goal and find it too far. The trick, however, is not to look at the end, but instead the beginning. See how far you've come. It helps to your starting point as the reference point for your initial progress. Early in your journey, focus on how far you have come and not how much there is still left. Taking on a challenging task is hard, but if you get started and then focus on comparing your early progress with the initial state, you can hack your way into getting and building momentum. Hence the name, the looking back hack, a direct implementation of the endowed progress effect or able to. It does not mean losing sight of the big goal, but hacking the process to stay the course. The move the goalpost nearer hack. Now that you have had a start and you are well underway, another way to hack your motivation is to break a bigger task into smaller chunks because smaller chunks bring the goalpost nearer, making the goalpost closer, which in turn could increase motivation. Move the goalpost and you move the motivation. The first lap hack is a special case of this, but we need more. For example, as I'm writing this book, I do not want to think about the 70,000 words I contracted to write. That is daunting. a goal that seems far away and not the most motivating, I'd say. It's like writing another PhD thesis, so I break my writing into daily goals, sometimes even a morning goal and an afternoon goal, intentionally moving the goalpost nearer to hack my motivation. And as I do, I leverage the growth gradient effect in Able 3. That is more, I write the closer I get to the finish line, and the more motivated I am keeping on writing. And it works for the most part. As I have now settled on a slow and steady 500 words daily, I call it move the goalpost nearer hack. I'll pause here and share. For the last 3 years, I was struggling to read, and why I started reading online, I'm sharing with you on a personal note, was to get me to read. And now when I look back, these little weekly sessions, in between them, I read a whole book also. So it's so fascinating how what we are doing here, I've actually experienced in my life. Look back, January when you started attending the productive failure sessions and how far you've come. Bless you. Contrast and vary cases. Contrast helps us to see things. Don't just learn how to do something, also learn how else to do it, and perhaps how not to do it. Language learning is a perfect example. Do not just learn how to order a cup of coffee in the cafe, but even a slightly different way in which you can do that. Also, learn the way in which you should not. These different ways to create a variation, which in turn sets up comparison. Each comparison helps you see what is critical in the meaning and use of language. What is the capital of Switzerland? First, of course, practice retrieval. Maybe you thought of one of the bigger cities such as Zurich or Geneva. You are wrong. But retrieval practice, even if it resulted in failure, has now set up you for learning. Now, if you found out the capital of Switzerland, you will have learned which city is the capital and which ones are not. The contrast is more helpful for memory. And the next step you think that the capital of Switzerland, you might think of three cities and know which one is and is not. And here is the thing, thinking about the ones that are not will guide you to the right one. Therefore, as a rule, always learn from contrasts. If you are presented with only one case, then learn to ask for or generate other cases. Cases that are either variants, non examples, or even counterfactual, as we saw in chapter 6. Research shows that we do not learn as well from single examples or cases, but when presented with typically two cases at once, cases that are similar and different in interesting ways, we tend to see things and learn and transfer a lot better. Remember the museum study in chapter 3. Research shows that the best way to understand an artist or style is to learn by comparing with other artists and styles. Comparing and contrasting is more effortful, even difficult. But as we've repeatedly seen in this book, such difficulty is desirable. Why? Because contrasting cases help you see by highlighting differences and similarities. Here are a few more examples. I'll read a little more. Comparing histories, delving into how different societies responded to similar challenges such as economic depression or political upheavals, provides a nuanced understanding of historical casualty and human behavior. This approach can reveal patterns and influences what shaped society's path, offering lessons applicable to contemporary issues. Second, comparing products. Investigating various products like smartphones or investment plans by comparing such specification, user reviews, and prices helps us in making informed decisions. This process not only highlights the strengths and weaknesses of each option, but also educates the consumer about what features are most relevant to their needs. Comparing case studies. Sorry. Regularly study and analyze case studies from your industry as well as from different sectors. This can provide insights into how various challenges are approached and solved, offering lessons that can be adapted to your own work context. For example, a marketer might study successful campaigns both from within their industry and from unrelated sectors such as tech, fashion, and non-profits, to glean diverse strategies and tactics. Comparing project management methods. If you're involved in a project management, explore different project management methodologies. Agile, Scrum, Lean. These are project management methodologies to explore them by applying them in various project types. This variation can help you understand the strengths and weaknesses of each method in different contexts, making you more adaptable and skilled at choosing the most effective approach for each project. Comparing cultures. Broaden your cultural understanding for exposing yourself to a variety of cultural experiences, where and to the extent possible, such as travel, literature, films, and cuisine from around the world. This exposure to diverse cases of cultural expression can enhance your empathy, communication, skills, and global awareness, contributing to both personal growth and improved interpersonal relationships. The idea is never try to learn from a single case or example. Always compare two or three. Not too many to keep it manageable, but also not just one. Ideally, simultaneously, side by side, so that you can perceptually see the similarities and differences, but also conceptually see features and underlying structure that are critical. And even if you fail to see at first, this failure is good because we know that one of the ways failure helps us see is by naturally creating contrast between our own failed prior knowledge and the correct knowledge. Even you are practicing something, for example, a topic in mathematics, a piece of music, shooting in basketball, preparing for an exam, and so on. It is good to change it up. The principle here is not a mass practice designed for variation. It is good to practice for a while and then change it. Do not just attempt one type of the problem, but try different kinds and target the concept you are trying to learn. Do not stand in just one place and practice shooting basketball ad nauseum. Vary it. Try a few in one place, then another, each time adjusting and adapting to the angle, power, depth perception, and so on. Likewise, prepare a varied routine for exam preparation as well. Vary the topics, domains, places, and durations of study. We'll pause here. I'll create a bookmark for next week and I should add it right away into the Teachers Academy. I'm putting everything in the Teachers Academy because of a larger audience there. So we are not putting all this in the Sunbeam Masterclass. Please pick it up from the Teachers Academy. Sunbeam Masterclass has some direct hits and notes, which is for you, for your housekeeping and your matters. For us, what matters is you are here, we love you, we care for you, and we read together. If we read together, we will read together. That's what I always say. So it's important for us to pause here for today. That's the masterclass for the day. It's a meeting, anyone can talk. That's your call. I will wait another 2 minutes. You can unmute, ask anything, talk anything. And I'm grateful you're all here. It's wonderful to see so many of you come here week after week to experience the magic of reading. Read to lead. That's all is required in life. Over to you. Good deep.
Yes, sir.
Please come in and see if you have any points of discussion, any questions, any matters arising.
When you were talking about that professional development, so that story of woodcutter was coming to my mind in that book, that Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, that sharpen the saw.
Yeah, sharpen the saw.
So we have to find out, when you were saying that just going to school like will not help us grow. That is
Yeah,
a routine task that everyone has to do. But coming here and reading together, I think that is sharpening the saw. We are like sharpening our skills.
absolutely. And some of us at my good school read Live Life in Crescendo. So I'm not sure if anyone here was with us for that Live Life in Crescendo phase. And sharpening the saw was actually discussed in that. So, like you mentioned, Seven Habits, Live Life in Crescendo is a book written by Covey's daughter, Cynthia Haller, after his death. So, it has some of his notes and it
Hmm.
goes further from sharpening the saw.
I haven't read that book.
So, it's a good read. We have some information about it and you'll find some posts. Go on Joy of Learning Diaries. And I wonder if you people saw the fantastic statistics we took out yesterday. 2.6 million people have tested out the Teachers Academy blog, and 1 point plus million the Joy of Learning. Joy of Learning is a new blog. It's only started with My Good School. Now, Teachers 2.6 took almost 15 years. And Joy of Learning Diary is 1 point plus has happened in 3 years. So, see the pace with the young are working hard. And it's an example for you, teachers. Don't use this spirit of learning. The whole story of productive failure is taking your learning forward. That's all. And that's why we are here in life, to take our learning forward. We are regressing every day. Every day we are losing our breath stock which we have. Every day we are moving more towards the edge of our lives. But remember one thing, every day your learning is moving forward. And that's what celebration of life and days are. Thank you all. As I don't think we have any questions or doubts, I'm happy to do a Purana Viram. Gurdeep, you can wrap up the session, please.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir, for reading out. And every day it's a new learning, new day, and we all are learning. And thank you, all the teachers, for coming here and reading with sir. Thank you.